depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told out of Voice of Radio, so because it's been about a year since we last did this, and that's kind of rude, it's time to count down the 10 worst Pokemon V. And I'm going to tell you something for nothing right at the beginning of this video. Fusion Strike did an awful lot for the worst Pokemon V list. The top part, in fact the list as a whole is kind of dominated by Fusion Strike. If you know, you know. If you don't know, don't worry about it. That is very much where I come in, ladies and gentlemen. So, I want to be clear here that we're talking about Pokemon V that just are bad. So one of the ones that appeared on the last list was the Raladon from Champion's Path. But there's no way I would ever put the Raladon from Champion's Path on this list because, well, since that came out, we've had Raladon V Max released, and actually, when you combine it with Raladon V Max, it actually becomes a decent card. It is a good option in Raladon V Max decks. Generally speaking, this is not a hard and fast rule. We are not going to put Pokemon that have a V Max on there, because you know what? They're going to be used with the V Max, which instantly makes them better than a bad Pokemon V that doesn't have a V Max. So one Pokemon that very nearly made the list but not quite was Grimmsnarl V. I don't like Grimmsnarl V. Like, at all. You've got a single energy attack for 40 damage, which is about the best thing about it. Free energy 200, put 2 darkness back into your hand. Well, 200 isn't enough to KO most Pokemon V, and you've then got to reattach the energy. It's a real pain. And even though we've got Grimmsnarl V Max, I consider Grimmsnarl V Max to be pretty bad as well. But you've got a single energy attack, it has a V Max, that keeps it off the list. What wasn't kept off the list? Well, in at number 10, and this is kind of a turn up for the books here, we've got the promo Hatareen V, which when I did this list a year ago, was actually number 1. Make no mistake that this is still a terrible card. 2 energy, you switch your opponent's bench with their active, and a new active is confused. 3 energy, 180 damage if they're confused. Tiny bit of benefit there because 180 will KO something like a Crobat or a Kricketune. And I do like that you can drag something active off the bench, but it's a 2 energy attack and they've got to be confused to do the big damage. It's not something we're going to be getting excited about anytime soon. In at number 9, we've got Cinderace V from Fusion Strike. And this is the part where you go, well, hang on a second, Wassy. You just told us you don't want to put Pokemon V on the list that have a V Max. Well, Cinderace has 2. Yes, it does. The thing is, Cinderace V, and sure, it's a single strike Pokemon, so you can use Houndoom and single strike energy to accelerate energy, do extra damage, etc. But I could say that about any single strike card. We need something more than that. It doesn't have a single energy attack, and the big attack all out shot does 210 for 4 energy. So you've got to have single strike energy on there to KO the majority of Pokemon V, and then you can't attack next turn? No! Yes, I know that we've got Cinderace V Max and one of them is a single strike, and I don't care, because firstly, I'm probably never using that Cinderace V Max. And secondly, we've got other Cinderace V, which I like significantly better. So, frankly, yeah. I'm not playing this one. And very similarly, in at number 8, we've got the Rillaboom V from Fusion Strike. Because, I mean, basically everything I just said about Cinderace remains true about Rillaboom. Yes, it has a V Max, a Rapid Strike one, and another one for what it's worth. But firstly, I'm probably not playing the V Max. Secondly, why would I play this V? Sure, it's a Rapid Strike Pokemon, but free energy to do 60 damage? Oh, I'm healing 30. That's not much. And then 4 energy to do 160. I'm not even getting a KO on something like a Crobat or a Kricketune, and I've put 4 energy on there. And sure, it's a Rapid Strike Pokemon, and 3 of the energy could be Rapid Strike energy, but we are really clutching at straws to try and convince ourselves that this Rillaboom V is anything other than absolutely terrible. Frankly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying I'm never playing Rillaboom V Max. I kind of like the Rillaboom V Max from Rebel Clash, but guess what? There's a Rillaboom V from Rebel Clash, which is approximately 100 billion times better. I am just not playing this Rillaboom. It's not good. In at number 7, we've got Poligeist V. And this is another example of one that started off as a promo over in Japan, and then got brought over here as a promo, and there's really not very much about it we like. And it's one of those annoying ones that kind of looks interesting the first time you see it. The ability says if it's in the active and is damaged by an attack, even if it's knocked out, you get to choose a random card from your opponent's hand and put it at the bottom of their deck. Which is kind of fun. It's got hand disruption in there every time you get damaged, even if you're knocked out. That sounds kind of fun. But then on the other hand, free energy, 100 damage plus confusion. No! 100 damage is terrible. Confusion is fine, but come on, if you're desperate for confusion, Yellhorn exists. And that is so much easier to actually use for confusion. Just have something in the active that can retreat, you'll be fine. And it's just not good enough, ladies and gentlemen. Too expensive, too weak, and confusion is fun, but let's not kid ourselves that it's going to swing the game to our favour. In at number 6, we've got Pincurchin. Another one who was quite a bit higher up in the previous list, so yay. Go Pincurchin. And Pincurchin is, for my money, very, very similar to what we've just seen in Poligeist. Because you've got a really nice ability. When you're damaged, even if you're knocked out, you flip 3 coins, and for each heads, you put 3 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon. Counter-Attack Kazap, incidentally, great name for an ability. This all sounds really good, but you know what? Am I really letting my opponent hit a 2-prize Pokemon for my 1 in 8 chance of placing 9 damage counters? No. No, I'm not. You've got a terrible 170 HP. You've got a single attack, which is free energy 120, which will just get a KO on weak Pokemon V, as in Pokemon V that are weak to lightning. It's just, there's no way, shape, or form, right, that this is going to be good enough. This is not good. In fact, I might be so bold as to go as far as to say, this is actually bad. I don't like it at all, ladies and gentlemen. I like the ability on a higher HP Pokemon with a good attack. I could really start trying to build a deck around this, but honestly, there is nothing about this in its current state which gets me even remotely excited. In at number 5, with apologies to the lovely Joe Merrick, we have got Celeb V. Incidentally, there are 2 Celeb V now. This is a one from Sword and Shield. I'm not saying that the one from Chilling Reign is good, but I'm also saying it's not absolutely hilariously bad, and that's essentially what we're looking for here. The one from Sword and Shield, find a friend, search for 2 Pokemon to put them into your hand, but you've got a very low 180 HP. Are you really leaving a 2-prize Pokemon in the active to take a hit just to search out 2 Pokemon? There are better ways to do it. And Line Force kind of sounds good on the face of it. 50 damage, 20 more for each of your bench Pokemon. But actually, with a full bench, that does 150 damage. And I suppose 150 damage for 2 energy isn't terrible. But then again, you're not even KOing those weak 2-prize Pokemon. And you've got to fill your bench in order to do it. And you've got very low HP. Once again, I'm not saying I'm never going to play the VMAX. I'm probably not, to be honest. Although I do kind of like Curative Forest as an ability, do a bit of healing. But I absolutely am telling you that if I'm playing the VMAX, we have got a better Celeb V that came out in a later set. In at number 4, we've got the Pikachu V from Fusion Strike. And ladies and gentlemen, boy howdy do we have a bunch of Pikachu V from which to choose. And even amongst all of those Pikachu V, I feel pretty confident telling you that this is the worst of the Pikachu V. Because, I mean, why? Yes, it's got a single energy attack, and that's fine, but it only does 20 damage. And then free energy, 100 damage? You get free energy on there, and you're not even KOing a Pokemon V that's weak to lightning. I mean, come on. There are some good Pikachu V and some not good Pikachu V, but this is the only one of the Pikachu V that I sit here and look at and go, nothing. There is nothing I like about this at all. And like I say, we have a bunch of different Pikachu V. This one is just bad. You know, I can look at the one from Celebrations and go, well, free energy 210. It's not great, especially since you self-damage, but actually 210 will get a lot of Pokemon V. And then I can do just a tiny bit of damage manipulation to get pretty much any Pokemon V. And actually, yeah, now we might be rolling. Whereas this one, nah. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Even amongst all the Pikachu V we've got, this is bad. And once again, yes, there is a Pikachu V Max. But once again, there is absolutely no way I'm going to be playing this Pikachu with Pikachu V Max. I have many different options. I'm going to choose one of the other. In at number 3, we've got Tyranitar V, the one from Fusion Strike. Get used to hearing that, incidentally. It's not the only Tyranitar V we've had, but it is the bad Tyranitar V. And this is what we're going to see dominating the top of this list. Pokemon that are expensive and don't do enough damage and don't have a hook. So, for instance, one of the Pokemon which I could see people saying is really bad is Flapple V. I've always been a way bigger fan of Flapple V than most people, but I understand not everybody loves it. But single energy, 20 damage during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon's attacks cost 2 colorless energy more. We all know, you know, it came out in Battle Styles. It's been out for a while. It's not setting the metagame on fire. Nobody's really playing it. But are you telling me you cannot think of a game where your opponent basically runs out of energy and you use Sour Spit to win very, very, very slowly? I totally can. I kind of like it. Nothing like that can be said about cards like Tyranitar here. It's just bad, ladies and gentlemen. What we've got is free energy, 80 damage, way too expensive. 4 energy, 150 damage, both way too expensive. And okay, fine, it does actually get a one-hit KO on Crobat because of the weakness. But if you're relying on weakness to KO Crobat and you're not even KOing Kricketune, and I keep mentioning that, that for me is kind of like the lowest possible number. If I'm using a 2-prize Pokemon, I should be able to KO these weak 2-prize Pokemon that people are playing. If I can't even do that, what's the point? Greninja comes in at number 2, and it's a very similar thing. 2 energy, 40 damage. Yes. I need to get a second energy on here to do a whopping 40 damage. Now, Dancing Shuriken, on the one hand, I can look at that and go, well, we've got energy acceleration for water. We've got stuff like Frostlass and Melanie. And then, you know, free energy, 80 damage for each heads. I can make that work. But no, you can't. Because actually, you are most of the time going to hit 2 heads, which is free energy 160, which doesn't hit that 180 mark we've been talking about, and you need free energy on to do so. Sure, every 8 times you use this attack, you should hit 240 and get a one-hit KO on a Pokemon V, and sure, you can use Glimwood Tangle to try and make that happen more often. I get all of that, but if you're telling me I've got to flip 3 out of 3 heads after attaching free energy to get a one-hit KO on a Pokemon V, and then you're asking me to get excited about that? No, I am not getting excited about that. But in at number 1, it's Lucario V from, say it with me, ladies and gentlemen, Fusion Strike. What is the point of this Lucario? It's only got 1 attack, and it's free energy 120. And sure, you're hitting a decent weakness, so you'll get stuff like Crobat. But then again, if you want to have a Pokemon V that hits weakness as a fighting Pokemon, Galarian Zapdos would like to say hello. Because if your opponent's got 3 Pokemon V, including V-Star and V-Max on the field, you do 170 for a single energy. and discard any special energy. That, ladies and gentlemen, that is a tech. That is something I can get behind. Lucario? Nah. I mean, to be fair, it's not the first Lucario V we've had. We did have a previous Lucario V that came around in Champion's Path, and that one was alright. Single energy, 40 to the active, 20 to one of your opponent's bench. Free energy, and it hits that 180 that we like. It's not making my list of top 10 Pokemon V. Incidentally, I did that list a few days ago. Go check it out. I'm pretty proud of that one. But it's also not anywhere near this list. Unfortunately, this new Lucario absolutely is. It's just, even amongst all the other bad cards on this list, I feel confident putting this number 1. The list as a whole, the numbering, the ordering is a little bit of a mess, because when you get down to this level of bad, you can rearrange the order quite a lot, and I wouldn't be terribly upset with you. But I do feel fairly confident that this is the worst Pokemon V we've had so far, and I feel pretty confident putting it in at number 1. But I want to know what you think. Do you agree with this list? Do you want to reorder the list? Are there Pokemon on this list that you think do not belong? Remember, if you're taking one off, you got to put one on. And do you think there are Pokemon V not on this list that deserve to be on this list? Although remember, if you're putting one on, you've got to take one off. Them's the rules, ladies and gentlemen. Them's the rules. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCG Radio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can do exactly that. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.